Hello friends, and welcome to another fantastic edition of Front of House Live, where we sit at the bar, have some drinks, and watch some live music. Sitting here with my good friend Grover Anderson. We just cut an episode of Front of House. We'll talk about that throughout the night. But first, a reading from the Big Book of Rock. While new country music seems increasingly restricted to the conventions of cheating hearts, open roads, and lonesome losers, one band, Cowboy Junkies, has managed to bring something fresh to the scene without resorting to irony. With their depictions of claustrophobic small-town life, Michael Timmons, his brother Peter, and sister Margot, plus bassist Alan Anton, have put a bit of soul back into country. A reading from the Big Book of Rock.
Hail, hail, rock and roll.
Grover Anderson, welcome.
Michael Dawson, it's nice to see you, sir.
I am happy you are here. We just sat down and we recorded an episode of Front of House, which will be airing on Front of House Live in about 7-8 weeks.
I love it.
You're gonna be able to relive this whole experience.
If there's one thing I love, it's listening to myself making small talk.
And that is just good science. Tonight we're here to watch our man Brother Sal. Brother Sal is a legend in the Los Angeles music scene. Was playing clubs when there were piano bars in LA. He was playing them at 16 years old. Had a record deal with Atlantic. Gave up on performing, I think, for a while, and now he's just back in the scene and fucking making shit happen.
Doing it.
What an incredible show. You're gonna love this. We're gonna get into that. Why don't we just get into that right now?
Let's do it.
This is Brother Sal, and you are watching Front of House Live. Welcome back to another fine, fun stereo edition of Front of House Live at the North Hollywood Hideout in Los Angeles, California. Our guest today, and we are blessed, my friends, Brother Sal. Welcome to the program.
How are you, my man?
Excellent. Let's hear a song.
On this weary wooden walk, I spy this old fool's blue with his wool and a wily gait. He be wearing wretched old iron shoes. Well, he move but don't say much. There ain't no one really worth a talking to. And he told the world he's found the pearl he dances the devil into. On these streets of stone and shame, this blessed hag is a keeping score. She'll be turning all the berries down. They'll be waiting in a supper line for more. Well, she gonna cry till she die at 96. But her tears ain't gonna buy her the stove. She'll take the place of a wife. She'll breathe new life to the coming of the horseman for you. Well, the way to hell is paved with good intent, so I intend to let my love light shine. And the deep I get a woman I must regret that I ever made a little girl mine, all mine. Well, I invite lightning to strike, and I'ma tell the reaper I collect when I'm old. Old St. Peter calling from his pearly gate, but I've been watching Dorothy on her golden road. We all crawl, then a walk, then die. And I've been on the sticks up in the cabin stove. And I learn, I turn, I ain't gonna burn up in the hellfire down below.
Well, goddamn. Brother Sal is our guest today, front of house. Man, welcome. I am very, very happy that you are here, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
Quite a blend of finesse and force on those keys. That's a powerful song, but at times it needs a delicate touch, and you really hit the delicateness when it needs to be there. But you know, there's a lot of force in there. Do you think finesse and force might be like a good descriptor of who Brother Sal is?
Yeah, man. I mean, the song was written at the Grand Central Market in downtown Los Angeles.
Been there.
It's a great place. I've been there forever. And I saw this bum on the street, and I was like thinking I wanted to write a song sort of about The Wizard of Oz or Dorothy or something. You know, I wanted to do something. I like the movie, and I've always loved the movie. And I see this guy walking, and he had these steely blue eyes, and they hadn't lost the light in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They weren't dead. He was just walking. He was down on his luck. He was an old man, big long beard, sort of a wizard type. And so I just kind of like described his walk. We nodded at each other passing by, and I went into the market and didn't see him ever again, you know? But I just wanted his walk to be represented in that.
Right.
Which is what I did. That was the first lick of the song when I started writing it. And I write different ways. This one I wrote music before I had a lyric. I just knew what I was going with on that.
Now, if you're at Grand Central Market,
Yeah.
Are you writing it in your head?
No lyrics. Just
I mean
the
the music.
Yeah, the music.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the guy's bounce and the guy's eyes. Basically, the name of the song is Iron Shoes, and that's how the guy looked like he was walking. Every step was torture. Every step was like he was picking up these shoes and putting them down. And so I knew, oh, it's a good idea, right? Then in my head, it started sounding Waitsy, Tom Waitsy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, let's go that way. But the whole thing about back to your original question, the whole thing about the music that we do that specifically moves me and then ultimately my band is dynamics. And if you have a range of emotions, high to low, like I do,
Right.
you try and pull from all of that space.
You display that in the waveform.
Right. So the first part of the song needs to be about the walk.
It's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're talking about transience,
Yeah.
and it's a song that was based on a transient walking.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the story goes on, and it's like the second verse is about this old Asian lady I saw when I got into the market.
Okay.
Who basically, this was the great part of the day. There was some, Wall Street broker looking guy who walked past a vegetable or fruit stand or something like that and knocked over a pint of blueberries. Turned around, looked at it, and kept on walking. Kept on going. And this old Asian lady came out of nowhere, didn't work there, and picked them all up. Okay, this girl gets a verse. She gets a verse, you know what I mean? Because good for you. It's a daily, simple, let's live as human beings here, and that's what she did, you know what I mean? Still don't know what the song's really about. And I was dating a girl at the time who I didn't really like. I really had no great affinity for her. So I always loved to do that put that kind of thought into a bridge. Like, here's what my song's really about, but here's what happened in the rest of the day. Do you know what I mean? That's all it was.
Yeah.
And then I gave the last verse to Dorothy, man. And that was it. I went home and I wrote it 20 minutes or something like that. It was let's put that story, the second story, talk about this girl a little bit, and then I'll talk about Dorothy, and that's it. That was the whole song, man. But you need the dynamics of how I feel about each of those things.
Right.
And that's where you get the high and the low from it. You know what I mean?
That's
Finesse and force. That's what you said.
It's kind of finesse and force, absolutely. It's kind of a very artistic approach to songwriting, where the song is about, what's in the bridge. All the other stuff is just what's happened. But it all still lends itself in the same direction and creates a fantastic song.
Thank you. At some point, I heard someone say, some great writer say, tell them what you're really thinking in the bridge. I don't know if it was in an interview, but make the song about whatever you want to make it about, but be as honest as you can in the bridge for some reason. And I think the thing is, from songwriter to songwriter, the bridge is the part that's, if you have an A and a B section, A section being the verse, B section being the chorus, the bridge is the one part of the song that's always going to be different than everything else. Sometimes it's not, but a lot of times the bridge is, oh, what's that part? I want to lift this song, or I want to take it down a bit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I was thinking, essentially, you know what I mean? So I think the girl knows that I wrote it about her too. When I played it for her, she had a look in her eye like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about here.
Did you break up soon after that?
No, we didn't.
Brother Sal is our guest here today, front of house. I'm enjoying this so far, loving the music. Let's hear another song, my brother.
Sure.
Never mind the dog, and we'll go through it.
That's all right. Yep.
Quiet.
Turn this on really quickly. The thing about songs and lyrics is if you write too many of them, you forget what the lyrics are. Gotta look them up. I should know this one, though.
All right. Sorry about that.
All good.
Take it away.
Hold on. Okay, there it is.
Oh, what was the name of that song?
Iron Shoes. That is not released yet. I've recorded 2 versions of it, but I haven't put it out yet.
Okay.
This one is on a record I put out 10 years ago, and I will talk about it after, I suppose, but it's kind of a funny story how it got written. Here we go. Of this thing I will tell. Say to him, baby, work your spell. The brother, work your spell. Of this thing I will tell. said to him, my daddy knew me well. Came along, baby, played your song, and I will tell. A diamond ring, watch it shine, mama, watch it shine. With this ring, baby, you be mine, 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 all mine. Diamond ring, watch it shine. Take my vows, daddy won't decline. Diamond ring, baby, watch it shine, mama, you be mine. The baby cries in the night, in the night. Sleeping star, blind inside, baby, blind inside. The baby cries in the night, forsake all before my little boy's plight. Baby cries up in the night, blind inside. Through the years, I've watched him grow, baby, watch him grow. He played ball, then he kissed a girl, then he leave your home. Through the years, watch him grow. Life is fast and my death is slow. Through the years, baby, life is fast and my death is slow. I love this thing, baby, I will tell, mama, I will tell. Life is done, won't you take me well, Lord, take me well. Love this thing, I will tell. Jesus saved my soul from hell. Love this thing, I will tell, I will tell. Cool. All good.
Yeah, man, tell me about that.
All right, so I had a buddy making a movie who asked for a couple songs years and years ago, and I had just got married, and I was going to be a father, and I wasn't playing shows. In fact, I was working a job, many jobs. I was working jobs doing something I'd never really done. I'd always just played music for money. And my buddy called and said, "Are you still writing songs? I got a couple songs I'd like you to write." And he goes, "Okay, here's what it is. I need sort of a song about like life to death in like 5 verses. Just think like one same melody over and over and over again." And I became a father, and I looked at my son, and I kind of said, "Why don't we just talk about this life? It's me, sort of, or whatnot." But with him, my firstborn. And so I wrote the song, and I sent it, like some demo version of it to him that I recorded. And he said, "Man, this is kind of dark." I was like, "You're the one who asked for life and death, so I put the death in it." He was like, "Well, I just wanted to like maybe get to the old man part." And I was like, "Nah, man, let's address it all. Life is death, it happens, it's part of it, or whatnot." And so he said, "All right, well, how are you thinking about it? Like, you play it kind of upbeat, but I would hear this song as slow, methodical, something that would be somber in tone." And I was like, "Nah, man, that's not life. Let's make it like a gospel choir. Let's make it like jump. Let's make it sound like a juke joint."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Why?" And I said, "That's the irony of the whole thing." Sorry about that.
All right.
That's the irony of the whole thing, is that you have to go discover the words. Now you got something where the song actually jumps and moves and makes people dance. The amount of people who, after I recorded it and put it out, have texted me, sent me messages on like fan pages or whatnot that said, "Yo, man, I love that song. It's on my workout list. It was on my workout playlist. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, does anybody actually listen to lyrics anymore? Because I die in the song, man. You know what I mean? And I'm praying for Jesus to take me home. You know what I'm saying? But
So you were born and raised into a military family, spent much of your formative years in southern Italy, right?
yeah.
Where does the southern gospel vibe come to? How were you introduced to that, and what brought you to play that kind of music?
I mean, I have 3 very specific places that I point to. First and foremost, my grandmother put me on a piano, the piano that's still in my house that I've had my whole life. But it was her piano at the time. And she lived over here. She lived in California, in Los Angeles, was how we ended up here. And there's a picture of it in my house, me like in a diaper and like a tank top, and her showing me old gospel music, which is all she played. That was all she played. And so she would show me these old hymns, and she would play the left and the right hand and would teach me the melody. So if we were playing something like Victory in Jesus, it was like, oh, victory in Jesus, my forever. She would teach me. And I would just play it one finger that way with her.
Okay.
And I loved the rhythm of it. I loved the way it made me feel, because it was like pieces of a puzzle all coming together. It was like you could see the scene before it happened. I would hear it in my head. First time she played it, I said, I got it. And I would play it with her, you know? And so that was first. And so I never really sat down at the piano to learn anything. I sat down at the piano to emote. I sat down at the piano when I was mad, when I was happy, whatever it was. That's always what it was, because that was a good place for me with my grandmother.
Okay.
My mother and my father gave me very specific, like deep musical influences. My father gave me 2 places. He gave me Frank Sinatra, because he's from 3 minutes from Hoboken. And he gave me old black woman singers. Bessie Smith,
Etta James,
Billy, Etta, yeah, all of them. Nina Simone, all of them. My mother's 10 years younger than him, so she gave me the Beatles and Motown and all that stuff. But she told me really weird things that I always remembered. Like, she gave me the band sound, like a book of their songs. From
the band?
The band.
Okay.
Music from Big Pink songbook or whatnot.
I have that.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the band record in this songbook. And she said this to me. She was like, look, in life, you're going to hear about Bob Dylan, and rightfully so. Arguably the best songwriter America's produced. But don't sleep on this group. They're a good band. They're a good bunch of songwriters. And so that, like, stayed with me. So I listened to them before I actually went into Dylan, you know what I mean? She also gave me this, Leon Russell. Go listen to Leon Russell. That's a piano player, right? Those random thoughts your mother gives you throughout the day as she's making you a snack or something like that, you know? And that was it. And so those kind of things sort of started guiding me that way. And the blues is at the roots of all of those things that we're talking about.
Right.
And that's where it comes from, really, more than anything. Is the minute I discovered the blues, I had written a song or two. I was 13, really. But the minute I really, like, got into it, I didn't listen to anything for a long while, man, but the blues. Because I knew that's where all of this started. All American music came out of the blues. And if I ever meet people, and I have friends who've said to me, man, I don't really get the blues. And you always have to say, you mean you don't get sad, or you don't understand blues music? Because if that's the case, we can't be friends anymore. Like, I don't, everybody gets the blues. Everybody understands that, man. You know what I mean? So it all started there, and then kind of coupled with when I moved to the States and started playing music, like almost right away. There was these cats who were the old West Coast LA jazz and blues guys who kind of reared me from 15 to like 22, 23 years old, and I would sing in their bands. I would be ushered into a bar, allowed to play a keyboard or organ or piano or whatever, or allowed to sing, never allowed to talk, never allowed to drink, nothing like that. Just come in. We told everyone, we just want you to sit here and experience what it's like. And these guys were the best. And I'm talking, these are big name guys. These are like Nat King Cole's band. This is like Louis Armstrong's nephew played drums with me for a long time. And these big names would come out and see us play. Jimmy Smith, who's like the greatest jazz organist of all time. And I met these guys when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. And it was just the way that music used to be handed down. You find somebody that you look at and you say, he's got something, let's bring him into the fold and show him how to do this as a career.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the farm team.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a single A ball player at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was the big influence on me where I really started going, all right, I could do this, I think. I think I can play with them. You know what I mean? I could play with these guys. And then I started really sitting down at a piano to practice, as opposed to just sitting down to get out emotions or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Brother Sal is our guest today. You can follow him on Twitter at the Brother Sal, and find out about gigs and records and all that stuff there. I'll notice you also brought Gibson guitar over there.
I did. I actually write on guitar. I don't write on piano that much.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, which is interesting because most people, maybe I'm wrong because I don't play piano, but I would think that because piano is a more intricate and expressive instrument, I would think that most people who play both piano and guitar write most often on the piano. And it's surprising to me to hear it's the other way around.
Here's how I look at it, man. My thing about it is this. I'm not a great guitarist. I can get by. You give me a guitar, I'll look at you, what you're doing, playing, and I can join in. This, I can do a lot with. And for me, the best songs are the simpler songs. And the guitar lends itself towards that. You know what I mean? I think I heard a John Prine interview one time who said, he likes to say this, I learned 3 chords and never learned another one because I knew that's all I needed to know, you know? And so you have to find melodies in those 3 chords and you have to find the song and the basis for the song. But for me, it was one of those things like, I've written songs on piano, but I like my songs that I write on guitar better.
Okay.
I think they're simpler. I think they're more to the point, more direct, because I can't be fancy with it. You know what I mean? Every once in a while I'll change up a tuning on a guitar or something like that. But for the most part, that works for me. Whereas this, I spend days and weeks and months trying to figure out one part, and I'm sitting there going,
yeah,
I could just play this live and figure it out.
Finishes it right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
All right, Brother Sal is our guest. What do you want to switch to guitar? And
sure. You want to hear a song on guitar?
Yeah, let's do a song on guitar.
All right.
I want to remind everybody to follow us on Twitter at FOHPod and remember that every other Tuesday we are live at YouTube. And you can get that link to us. Maybe YouTube, maybe Facebook. We had a problem with YouTube last week, but we'll figure all that shit out. My name is Mike Dawson. Brother Sal is our guest. And we are front of house. What do you got, my brother?
This one is called That's the Crow. It's about my ex-wife. Well, the moon hung high in Missouri sky, far blow. When stars they sleep, well I write these songs. The worlds collide when we talk for so long. I don't know why, I don't know why we try. Well, it's been 4 and some odd years and a backyard of tears. Thank you folks for coming, now that's our show. 'Cause I know I've done you wrong, but I am a weak and my will is strong. And that's the crow, the old crow as she flies. Even now that it's the end, I still take you as my friend. No more talk, a bit of drink, and we'll retire. Little girl, please be okay. Them narrow roads will guide your way through the fire. When stars they sleep, well I write these songs. Our worlds collide when we talk for so long. I don't know why, I don't know why we try. Take a walk on that bridge. Oh, little lady, it's been a long, hard climb. Don't you walk these streets for money by yourself. Take a look around at the beauty of the world. Don't you put your love way high up on a shelf. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When the stars they sleep, well I write these songs. The worlds collide when we talk for so long. I don't know why, I don't know why we try. And I don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why we try. Yeah.
God bless America. Brother Sal is our guest here front of house. I like that song, dude, and I see what you're saying. It's easier just to keep it kind of simple, and you do something that I like to do. Is sometimes just take a walk up that E string.
Mm-hmm. Give yourself your own bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. That song, when I started writing it, I was actually on the road and driving through Missouri late night, and it was called The Moon Is My Muse. And it was really like a slow waltz, like a slow country waltz, like... You know what I mean? And I recorded a version of it with the dudes from, or one of the guys from Band of Horses.
Okay.
And another buddy of mine. And we had this old octagon organ, which is this thing from the 70s, 60s, 70s, which is amazing. Basically, they would record an orchestra on like a plastic disc, and you would press a button on the organ itself, and it would play the orchestra playing your chords. It was way out and way visionary, and not a lot of people use it. So the initial version kind of had the waltz behind it going on. It had like a snare drum and all this stuff and whatnot, and it was cool. But I knew that, again, I wanted it to be sort of like, I don't want to give you too much of my personality through the song. I'm not sad about this. The girl's one of my best friends. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I love her to death. And she's the mother of my kids and all this. It's not a sad song.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So went and re-recorded it. and did a couple versions of it and wrote it in a way. And the thing that's interesting about it is my kid pointed out, my youngest son pointed out, he was like 6 or 7. He's like, Dad, you know, on the chorus of the song, you sing a Quiet Riot melody. And I go, really? He's like, yeah. I don't know what the name, come on, feel the noise, right? Girls, rock your boy. We get wild, wild, right? He's sitting there singing it, and I was like, I don't know why, right? And I'm like, man, first of all, I'm doing something right that you know that. But secondly, it comes from everywhere, man. Whatever you're influenced by, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the funny thing too is you bring us indirectly to a really important part of songwriting. Katy Perry just lost a lawsuit that probably, I would imagine that Katy Perry never heard this other person's song.
Right.
But what I don't understand, people need to know, and we should know this now, there are only so many chords.
That's right.
There are only so many beats per minute.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I know the English language is ever expanding, but they certainly haven't come out with any new words I'm going to use in a fucking song anytime soon.
No.
So you're bound to borrow.
It's that old saying, the good ones borrow, the great ones steal, right?
Oh, shit, I love that. I haven't heard that in forever. That's awesome. Yeah.
Or there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? And obviously, there's all sorts of lawsuits, and rightly so. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, if you're going to get paid for a melody that is, you know, who cares if it was written 200 years ago? You know what I mean? Now there's publishing companies, and they want their money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But, you know, every song that I write, I could point you to the place where what I was thinking about. I did it in the first one with Tom Waits. The second one was my own thing, but there's a million juke joint songs that sound just like that one. So it's one of those things for me that I had to correct them and say, actually, that's not a Quiet Riot song, it's a Slade song. But still, you're right.
Right.
Yeah. Slade wrote it, or whoever it was. Yeah.
No, it was Slade, and actually, I had this conversation last night.
Really?
Last night, somebody was talking about how Come on, Feel the Noise is not a Quiet Riot original, and I never knew that.
Oh.
And the only reason why I know, yes, you're absolutely right, is I was in a room with killer musicians who would know this.
Right.
And I'm like, what? That is so weird that comes up 2 nights in a row.
Maybe
Brother,
you should go buy the record.
Maybe I should.
That
Slade.
record used to scare the shit out of me, man.
Man.
You know, whenever it came out, 81, 82, something like, maybe 80 or whatever, it's the Freddie mask.
Oh, yeah,
Dude,
the
like,
insane
right?
mask. Almost a Hannibal Lecter type.
Yeah, he's got a mask on or whatever. And when you're a kid, you're like, what is that? And then you hear the music and you're like, that's exactly what that looks like.
Right.
This sounds like. You know what I mean?
Brother Sal is our guest. Let's hear another song, my man.
All right.
I am digging this.
Cool.
Again, follow the dude on Twitter at the Brother Sal.
Give a man give a place to rest, hidden, scared, alone, close to your breast. And I'm the captain of this here vessel, a cotton cap and a dog I own. I've seen this world, heard tales of glory. Every sailor knows how to tell a story. I didn't learn true like my dad for me. I give 'em charms from an endless bounty. I sail the seas of the great wide north. I sail the seas to reach the shore. Tell tales of love and grandeur where I've been. Tip your cap, spill your drink, and praise the Lord. I sell and trade 20 years or more. I am displayed in self-righteous scorn, forgave no debt that a man did owe. Let the waters fade and the waves they roll, through winds and rain, a sheltered storm, dried out again in true bitter form. Search starboard, east and the moon above. What profits man is a heart in love. I sail the seas of the great wide north. I sail the seas to reach the shore. Tell tales of love and grandeur where I've been. Tip your cap, spill your drink, and praise the Lord. Now people know that I ramble roll on the waves of sin, stoke fire below. Search starboard, east and the moon above. Look north and sail the sea. I sail the seas of the great wide north. I sail the seas to reach the shore. Tell tales of love and grandeur where I've been. Tip your cap, spill your drink, and praise the Lord. I sail the seas of the great wide north. I sail the seas to reach the shore. Tell tales of love and grandeur and where I've been. Tip your cap, spill your drink, and praise the Lord. I tip your cap, spill your drink, and praise the Lord. I spill your drink, tip your cap, and praise the Lord.
Brother Sal is our guest, front of house. Sounds to me like a song of gratitude.
Huh, really? That song came about because my mom and I were hanging out one day, and I was wearing this hat that my father brought for me when I was about a year old from the North Atlantic. He was on a British Navy sea vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have it. I've had it my whole life. It's one of them old wool cotton hats that sailors wear. It even says Manchester, England on it, like that's where it's made, man. They make their own stuff. And I said something to my mom like, yeah, I got a song idea, I think. She said, you should write a song about that hat you got on. And me and my dad haven't always seen eye to eye. We're two very different people, or very similar, I don't know. And that's the point. And so I kind of wrote it about what sailors are like. What about a hat, man? You know what I mean? That's all it is, man.
Well, that's what's interesting and totally awesome about songwriting is I hear, I heard all the sailing references, but what I kind of got from that was a happy wanderer vibe.
Yeah.
And then tip your cap, spill your drink, and praise the Lord. To me, that meant tip your cap to somebody, say thank you,
right.
Say hello. You
spill your drink out.
Pour out one for the homies.
That's it. Spill it out for somebody.
And praise the Lord.
That's all you can do.
God bless us.
That's
See
it.
Everyone.
Yeah. That song came to me pretty quick too, man. And it was one of those things like I recorded that a couple times and I can't figure out how I like it. It's one of those songs, which is usually you're never going to find it. You're never going to discover how it is. You just know that it might be one of the best songs you ever written. And the thing about it is I played it for a bunch of songwriting friends, and they love the fact that I actually said out loud, what profits man is a heart in love. because that's not usually what I write about. But the opening line was the most important part of the song. Give a man a home, give a place to rest. Hidden, scared, alone, close to your breast. I got that line, and it was real easy to go from there. It's kind of like, look, no matter who we are, as people, as human beings, or whatnot, something that's sorely lacking in the world today is good feeling amongst men.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants their opinion to be heard. They want you to listen, but they don't really care about listening to you.
Right.
And my thing is, man, I remember how it used to be. I'm old enough to remember how it used to be. And so the whole point of that song is like, look, I'm on my own journey. You know what I mean? And I talk about my dad in the song, and I give him some love, and I make him look all right, because there's other songs I've written about him that don't, you know. But really,
As
man, it's
our
about that
fathers.
hat. It really is. It's about that hat. It's like, you gave me something tangible here that I still use and wear, you know. And yeah, that's what it's about, man.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Uh-huh.
Brother Sal is here. You kind of brought into the old school. You know, you and me, dude, I believe we're just about the same age. Mid-40s.
Close.
Close?
Yeah, I'm 44. I was born in 75.
All right, I'm 45. I was born in 74.
Oh.
Interesting.
When's your birthday?
March 12th.
March 12th.
And
Let me ask you a question, man.
Yeah.
Are you from California?
yeah. Many generations.
So when I came to California, I discovered that people had a way of explaining themselves through, astrology.
Mm.
And over the time that I've lived here in California, I've learned enough about myself to either say, what I'm about to tell you about myself is going to make you walk away, or what I'm about to tell you about myself is you're going to embrace me, you know? My thing, I'm a Cancer, right?
Okay.
The thing about Cancers, man, is they're supposedly, these real emotional, creative people who love their homes, and they're hard on the outside, they're soft on the inside, like a crab.
Okay.
And look, I laugh about it just as much as the next man. Astrology is funny to me. It really is. Except when it's really useful to explain why I am a certain way. My father is a Scorpio through and through. And really, truly, my mother's a Scorpio too.
What does that mean? What?
They like to sting.
Okay.
They like to come at you, man.
All right.
You know what I mean? They got the tail and they sting you. That's as far as I know about Scorpios. You know what I mean? But if you're raised with two of them, somewhere along the line, somebody explained that I never had a shot. You had to pinch them with the crab claws, you know? It's funny, man. Astrology is funny until it's not, and it's very useful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like telling somebody you're from the state of New Jersey, you have a license to be an asshole. You know what I mean? I'm not from New Jersey, but I know exactly how to use that. You know what I mean? Where's that dude from? He's from New Jersey. Oh, totally makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, anyways. Astrology and New Jersey, one and the same.
I remember being at a party. I don't know how long ago, but there was this big astrology book, this chick's house. And it was like called the birthday book or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that book.
And
I've had like 3 girlfriends go find that book at Barnes & Noble while they were with me to determine whether or
that's
not
fucked up.
we were compatible.
Okay, yeah. So you're absolutely right. Like I agree with you 100%. Astrology is hilarious. And then when you're half in the bag, you pick up the birthday book and you start reading about people who were born on your day.
Right.
I threw that fucking book across the room. I got 5 paragraphs deep, and I threw it. I'm like, fuck you. Nobody knows this much about me. That's fucking bullshit.
It's
scary
weird
shit.
how it works, man. It really is. And I used to make fun of people for the longest time. And I met this girl back in the day named Carly, and she was friends with me. And I was about 18, 19. And so at this time, I wasn't telling people I was a musician. I had a big group of friends who did not know that I played the piano, who did not know that I sang, did not know.
Why? That's
because I kept it hidden.
Into that. Why did you keep it hidden?
Because it was my own thing.
Okay.
It was my own thing, and I wasn't sure about myself at that time.
Was that what it was? But you were.
I think
you
it was,
were certainly
man.
proficient by that time.
Very proficient, but it doesn't really matter. My whole thing was, I have those same people are still friends with me, and I had this night of epiphany sort of for them, essentially, where we were all drinking pretty heavily. About 3 a.m, I'm at my friend Joe's house, who still lives in the same place, and he's got this beat up piano. And we're in the backyard, and I say to him, "Hey man, you mind if I go play the piano?" And they all kind of laughed. They were like, "Yeah, go ahead, go play the piano."
Bro.
And I went inside, started playing, and I wish my friend Pat was here, because he would tell you, he has the best version of it, in the fact that they all ran, just drunkenly ran inside looking at me. And the thing was with all of them is the supposition of what I actually did for a living. Sal steals cars. Sal deals dope. Sal is out every night, but nobody knows what he does. And some of those things were true, but that's just a way to get by. That's just a way to actually make ends meet.
Right.
But to a man, every single one of them called some friend that they had who had a piano in a bar and said, and at that time, LA had a lot of piano bars. "You got to have my buddy come down and play the piano." And Pat was the first one to call me the next day. And it wasn't even a call, it was a page. That's how long ago this was. I got a page from Pat, walked down to the payphone, called him. "What's up, man? I got you a gig tonight. Tonight, do you have a microphone and an amplifier, and can you play 4 hours of music?" And I said, "I don't have a microphone, I don't have an amplifier, but I can play 4 hours of music." He's like, "Cool. There's this spot at the building he worked on over off of Cahuenga. It was an EDS building, which I think got bought out by the porn company Vivid Entertainment. It's right across
I know
from
where the Vivid
Universal
we drive
City
by there.
Nissan.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's
There used to be a bar in there
101.
called Maloney's or Mahoney's or something like. It was an Irish bar, and they had a piano in there. And the deal was, "Sal, I'll give you," it was an Irish guy who owned it, and he said, "Sal, I'll give you $75 and dinner." And I wasn't even old enough to drink.
Pretty good.
And I said, "Great, that sounds fine." And
Great deal. That's a gig.
I played that night for my friends for the first time, instead of keeping it to myself. Do you know what I mean? And then, so Pat essentially loves to tell stories in groups that he's the discoverer of me.
Okay, yeah. Of course.
That's not how it went, man. That's not. But Pat is like that, you know. But from that time forward, I kind of put all the other stuff on the shelf and started playing all these different piano bars. I played a different place 7 nights a week.
Well, back then, so we're talking like 93, 94.
Yeah.
You know, the only essential piano bar, it's not even a piano bar, but it is a jazz club that really exists anymore, is a Catalina.
Oh, yeah. The
Over
Catalina
there on
Jazz
Wilshire.
Club. Yep. I played spots here in the Valley.
Okay.
So Maloney's or whatever, Mahoney's was like Monday night.
Yeah.
On Tuesday nights, I played Sardo's, which is over on Pass Avenue.
Does it still exist?
No, it's now Crawford's Fried Chicken, hot chicken.
Okay, but they don't have a piano.
They don't have a piano.
Yeah.
They didn't have a piano there. You had to bring your own keyboard.
Okay.
And then eventually they started doing karaoke. But Sundays was a place which is now Foreman's on Riverside, and that was called the Money Tree. And the Money Tree also, basically you could come down with your saxophone or your trumpet or your voice, and I would play the piano for you. And I met
that's
there, a guy named Joe Namichi,
That's
who
what,
was
where
like,
okay.
that was like the spot where I started. Joe Namichi was a general manager of Star Auto Ford, and he would drop $100 in my tip jar every week. And he was like old school. He's like Don Draper from Mad Men. Mustache, always in a suit, always smoking, you know what I mean? You could smoke in bars in California then. And was always drinking the same thing, 7 and 7 or whatever it was. And he always put $100 in my tip jar. And $100 when you're 18 in 93 is a huge amount of money. Huge. And it was one of those things that eventually I started playing these places, and I met this guy who was sort of, if I had to ever say I had a mentor of sorts, this old actor who's famous, a guy named Roscoe Lee Brown, who was famous for, he did the voice, the storytelling on the Star Wars record that was released. He told the story, but he was also on like Soap. And he was also like the narrator of the movie Babe. And he, beautiful black guy, bald and gay as shit. And he started off hitting on me. And then he watched me play. And then he kind of took me under his wing and said, listen, you have talent. And he would say things like, I wish you could have met Dean Martin.
Shit.
Like things like this, right? And I'm like, what? Yeah, Dean Martin was a good friend of mine. He spoke Italian, so we would speak Italian to each other. Like he was somebody who came from probably nothing, but was this revered, beautiful character actor that everyone knew. Sinatra, all of them. He knew the Rat Pack. He knew all these guys. And essentially, he just encouraged me in a way that no one was encouraging me at that time. And he drove a Datsun 240Z.
Yeah.
Remember
240s,
that?
yeah.
And he wore cowboy boots everywhere. And every once in a while, you get
Wow.
half in the bag.
Those are three things that don't necessarily go together.
That was Roscoe, man. And the thing was, like, I met some great people with him. Yeah, I mean, and eventually, years and years and years later, Roscoe died about 10 years ago. So about 5 or 6 years ago, a friend of mine brings Lawrence Fishburne into the piano bar in Hollywood where I had been playing religiously. Started the bar, the whole thing. And Lawrence and I hung out. He listened to my music and he loved it. And Lawrence and I closed the door of the spot, kept drinking, kept smoking and whatnot. And eventually came to find out that he was also mentored by Roscoe Lee Brown right after shooting Apocalypse Now.
Oh,
Same
shit.
kind of thing where Roscoe gave him this encouragement that, son, you have a talent to do what you're doing.
Man, he was young in Apocalypse Now. Like 17. Young.
Here's the thing. I think it's public knowledge so we could talk about it. He lied to Coppola. And he told him he was 18, and he was 15 when he went and shot it. And when he was done shooting it, he was 18.
Okay.
And that's, I think
wow.
If it's not,
Because
you can find out.
he seriously looks young. You know,
He was
they'll
young,
cast
young.
anybody these days to play. They'll cast a 20-year-old to play 14, and
So
we
he
all
gave me,
believe it.
he gave me that story and was
Wow.
like, and so we bonded over Roscoe, and Roscoe's actually in his den or living room in an urn. You know what I mean? And we both, I mean, it was a moment of like hugging and like crying
Yeah.
and, you know what I mean? It was beautiful.
That is
Anyways,
cool.
Roscoe was this guy who came along and sort of offered me support and whatnot in a really weird town. Los Angeles was weird to me, man.
Right.
It wasn't like where I grew up. It wasn't anything like that. It was a free-for-all for everyone. And no one worked. No one did anything. They just hung out and tried to be, I'm going to go here and live for a year on my dad's money or something like that. And then they left. You know what I mean? It was just an odd place. And there was this solid stone of a guy who was there every week and would offer advice and support and whatnot. You know.
Those are the people that we all need in our lives. That's the Gandalf. That's the wizard figure.
That's it, man.
That's the guide. Brother Sal is our guest. I know, as interesting and compelling as this discussion is, I know everybody wants to hear another song.
Man,
Let's get into some more music, man.
All right. Let's see.
But wow.
Yeah, don't get me
Fishburne.
talking, actually,
No,
man.
I love this. I'll tell the story after this song about how you and I met and that wonderful night at that private club in Hollywood. Great musicians.
Yeah. Good night.
Really, really fun night. But I got a funny little anecdote that I'll share with all of y'all. Brother Sal is our guest. Front of house. Remember, this podcast is in stereo, so if you find yourself listening on your phone, slap yourself in the face and put it in stereo, please. What are you gonna do for us, brother?
Maybe I will do a cover. Do you want me to? Or you want me to sing another one of my own?
Sure.
I have a.
Your call, dude. I love a good cover.
I got a good cover for you, man. This here's a song by one of my favorite writers of all time. I saw him last year at the Hollywood Bowl play, and I don't really go see music that much. Brother Randy Newman, and he has been one of my influences probably since I was about. Well, The Natural came out in 84, 85, so I was 9 or 10 when I first heard the music from The Natural. And didn't even know his name. I just knew I loved the music.
Yeah, how about that? How about that, Brother Sal?
Brother Sal.
Legendary, man. That dude is like, I had such a good time hanging out with him. We could have done this for hours and hours and hours. He's like a Buddha. He's like a Gandalf. The guy's got an answer to every question.
He's the gatekeeper. You shall not pass, but the good music can pass.
Yes. You shall pass. Hope you're enjoying Brother Sal. Follow him on Twitter at the Brother Sal. This is my man Grover Anderson.
Good day.
He's got a couple of records out. New stuff. Where'd I put him, brother? There we go.
They were in the very important spot.
In the very important spot over there. Grover Anderson, the optimist, and Grover Anderson is the front man. Pick those up at groveranderson.com.
Thank you, sir.
Coming up here, Brother Sal and I are going to get deep into classical music,
Oh, snap.
which is a lot of fun.
Turns out those guys knew what they were doing.
You're going to love, they did. You're going to love the fact that during this conversation, Brother Sal is going to use the word respite.
Love that word.
So good.
Great word.
When used correctly and in the right context.
Yeah, you can't make a mistake and say respite. It just ruins it.
Yeah, I spite those who say respite.
Yeah, you don't take respite in mispronunciations of respite.
No, you don't. So Brother Sal and I are going to talk about Jim Shveda, who at 7 o'clock every weeknight in Los Angeles on classical KUSC, Jim Shveda comes on the radio, and he is the smartest man ever to don a pair of headphones. And he talks like this. Back in 1784, a young composer whose father was also a composer. And he's just amazing.
Yeah, just go
guy's
for it.
amazing. A national treasure, as Brother Sal will say later. We will get into that. I want to ask you guys if you love this show, and I know you do. I know you do. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/front of house. See this guy right here?
I'll give you $1 if you can spell Shveda.
Oh, dude, I can't.
Unfortunate.
Should have put 100 out there.
Ah!
Wow, I cannot. I actually am researching. I'm getting the tweets ready, to
Queuing
Jim
him up.
Shveda, but I got to find him on Twitter first. So we'll see. That's coming up. But seriously, this guy right here, Grover Anderson, he is one of our Patreon subscribers. And
True.
You're going to see your name roll in the credits at the end of Front of House Live, because that's one of the things we do for you. We
what I
let
live for.
everybody know that you support this podcast, and he does.
You should buy my album.
You should. You should fully buy his album.
And also Brother Sal's.
Both of them. You ready to get back into it?
Let's do it.
Let's go back to the North Hollywood Hideout with the Brother Sal.
I've been around the world, had my pick of most any girl. You think I'd be happy, but I'm not. Everybody knows my name, but it's just a crazy game. Oh, it's so lonely at the time. Listen to the band playing just for me. Listen to the people paying just for me. All applause and all the parade, all the money, mama, I have made. Oh, it's so lonely at the time. Listen, all you fools out there, go on and love me, frankly, I don't really care. Oh, it's so lonely at the time. Oh, it's so lonely at the time.
Brother Sal covering Randy Newman, our guest here on Front of House. Dude, you have such a great command of your voice.
Thank you, man.
You're a fantastic singer.
Thanks, bud.
We spoke earlier about how your grandma would play the piano and show you the melody, and you would play the melody. Did that ever turn into formal lessons, or was that?
Yeah, I took piano for the first time from like a neighborhood teacher. Lived for a minute in Indianapolis, and really loved the house I lived in. And I love the people in Indiana, man. They're great, very welcoming. And the first thing that happened, you know, somebody moves into a neighborhood in Indiana, they welcome you. Everyone comes out, they bring you cookies and dinner and all this. That's how it used to be. And there was a kid who came with his parents who showed me. Well,
Is that chopsticks? Is that what that is?
no, it's Heart and Soul.
Okay.
And he showed me that, and okay, cool. So there was that, and then I started taking from like an older lady who was a piano teacher in my neighborhood, you know, and then I moved back to Italy, and when I got back there, I started taking lessons as part of school through this Russian lady, Miss Signora Stubakowski. Stubakowski, and she had a parlor, and I played her piano, and she would sit across the parlor with her eyes closed and knew every single time that I missed a note. This is how studied this lady was, and it was only classical. There was no talk about, do you mind if I play this Motley Crue song,
Sure.
Home Sweet Home?
Right.
I've never heard of it. There's no way, you know, it's not Mozart, it's not Muzio Clementi, or it's somebody like that. People that you study classically, and that's all it was. I studied classically with Miss Stubakowski, and it started there. But when I was 7, I wanted this Radio Shack tape deck that was like, you know, it was a rectangle that you could take a blank tape, put it in, press 2 buttons,
Sure.
and there was a small microphone on it, and you could sing into it. And I spent all of my time by myself singing every song I knew into that thing to hear my voice. Not with it playing in the background, just like I'm going to sing Michael Jackson's Thriller. I mean, you can hear these tapes. I still have them. My mom's in the background screaming, "Don't sing that," or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I grew up in a very strict household. I wasn't, like, technically allowed to listen to the stuff that I was singing. Corey Hart, Never Surrender, like songs like this that I liked, that moved me, you know what I mean? And so I had that thing for years, and all I did was sing into it. And it was right around that time where boys discover girls that I realized girls really like a kid who can sing. And that's where it came from. It was like, all right, I should probably do this more often.
So you've had incredibly formal lessons with playing the piano, but singing, you just found your voice?
Just found my voice.
Wow.
Yeah. No lessons singing wise. In fact, that first gig that I told you about at Mahoney's or whatnot, there was a man eating dinner at the table right in front of me. And this is actually kind of funny because we met years and years later. The dude sat there and watched me, and while I was playing one of my songs, walked onto stage, which now is not allowed. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I didn't know.
People still do it.
They still do it, but not on my show,
right. No,
not on my stage.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was like, this is an older man. I can't tell him to get the fuck off stage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And also, in this time, you don't know who you're talking to.
No
That's
idea.
got to be going through your head.
Came up to me, whispered in my ear, "You're a really great piano player, but your vocals need a lot of help." And so I looked at him and I said, "Thank you so much, sir. Why don't you go enjoy your dinner?" And I said it out loud on the microphone. I was like, this guy doesn't think I sang that well or whatnot. And he stopped as he was walking away. He said, "You know, there's a voice coach in town. His name is Seth Riggs. You should look him up." I said, "Thanks, I'll do that." Flash forward probably 8 years, and me and a guy I have a band with had just signed a deal with the rest of the members on Atlantic Records. And our manager says to us, "I got you guys vocal instruction for this from the best in town. He does everyone. His name is Seth Riggs."
Riggs.
And I was like, "Oh man, I know that guy, or I've heard his name before. Yeah, great. All right, cool. we get to Seth's place, and I walk in, and it's the old man who came up on stage and told me to go get vocal instructions from him. And from that moment forward, I said, I'm good.
That's what we call, on this show at least, that's what we call welcome to Hollywood moments.
Exactly.
Like, there you go. Boom. Hollywood just slapped you in the face.
It was Seth Riggs himself telling me to go see Seth Riggs himself about
dick.
vocal instructions.
What a dick.
I mean, the guy was, vocal coach for Michael Jackson, all kinds of people or whatnot,
Oh man, so we got time for one or two more, whatever you're feeling.
Okay.
But I do want to. I got one quick question for you before
Yeah.
we get into the next song. I love classical music.
Me too. It's my place of respite.
Yes.
It always
love-
has
I
been,
also-
and it always will be.
People who listen to this show also know that I'm a big fan of the word respite. So anyone who comes in and uses the word respite, you just score more points.
Did I win anything?
No.
Okay.
Just my admiration.
All right.
But for people, like, I get asked this question a lot from people, and I like to ask people this same question. People ask me, where did we get started on classical music? And I tell them, just go get Gustav Holst's The Planets.
Okay.
Just listen to that.
Sure.
And if you like classical music, you're going to fucking know it while you're listening to that.
Okay.
But there's got to be some iconic pieces of music that you really love and inspired you that you take respite in. Give us one or two, because I'm
Okay.
certainly going to seek them out and listen to them.
So, my very favorite movie of all time is Amadeus. And I don't think that there's anything that's ever come after it or before it that I've seen that has moved me. And he's a buffoon, and he plays him brilliant. Tom Holst plays Mozart brilliantly, because that's what it was a play and was written like that. But I had a Mozart, or my parents had a Mozart, greatest hits of Mozart or something like that, cassette that I stole at some point. And it was like, I think the first side was like Eine kleine Nachtmusik, which is very famous and everyone knows that or whatnot. But in the Amadeus soundtrack, there's a piece specifically that I need to listen to once a week. Because for me, Mozart was the place, was the writer who wrote these ethereal, heavenly melodies that have never been duplicated. You know what I mean? So it's the piano sonata in E flat major. And there's a scene in Amadeus where he's kind of silently to himself writing it and conducting the thing. And it's you know what I mean? It's huge, and the orchestration that he put around the piano that's happening there doesn't sound like anything in this earth. It sounds alien. To me, still to this day, that's where I start. Mozart. In the way that if somebody came to you and said, hey man, are you a Bruce Springsteen fan? Yeah, I am. What album should I get first?
Sure, yeah.
And you'll give them your response or whatever. I don't pull any punches with greatest hits. They're greatest hits for a reason. Everyone loves them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People love to be those like know-it-alls. People
Sure.
love to be those like, I've got the deep cuts for you.
Right.
You don't need to do that for me. You know what I mean? And I learned that when I started listening to music like intently, where it was like the greatest hits albums are where I'm going to learn from the most, because everybody enjoys everyone. And there's a reason they're great hits. You know what I mean? So Mozart for me is that place of respite. And then I'm a huge fan of Viennese waltzes. I'm a huge fan of Strauss.
Okay.
All the Strausses, father, son, nephew.
There were a
you know
lot
what I
of
mean?
Strausses.
A lot of Strausses. You know what I mean? And every New Year's Eve in Vienna, there's a concert that's put on for the city. That is a celebration of Austrian music, celebration of the waltz. That's a place I go to because, again, the music is fantastic and the melodies are memorable, and that's always what I want. I always want to remember what I heard, and if I don't, then I know it's not that great.
Right.
It's simple math, man. You know what I mean? So I go to the Strauss waltzes a lot. Mendelssohn is a deep cut for most people, but one of the more talented musical artists that ever existed. One of the more talented writers that ever existed. And then you have my place where I grew up, which is Naples, Italy.
Right.
And that has the folk sound of Southern Italian music. Anything from like O Sole Mio to like Toro Siriento, stuff that people know. But again, not duplicated these days. It's not made. It was only made during a certain era. You know what I mean? I'll give you those. How about that?
That is a wonderful answer. I'm really excited to listen to the Piano Sonata in E flat major from Mozart.
How do you listen to music? Do you stream?
I listen to 91.5 KUSC
Me too.
here locally.
Me too. I have.
That's where I get all my. You
From
know what I
day
love?
one.
You know what I love is Jim Schweda.
He's the best. Every time he
that-
comes on,
yeah.
I do his vocal. I do his vocal
Jim
stylings.
Schweda. Yeah.
This is Jim Schrader. You know what I mean? Like everyone does it.
Back
His-
in 1643.
Right.
There was a young piano player who wrote a symphony at the very tender age of 11.
He was the best. Or he is the best.
Yeah, he is the best.
He is the best.
But he's also,
around.
I
He's
gotta
still on.
say, I really believe that he's the guy at the party that everybody's afraid of, and they only go talk to him because then they're like, it's like I know that there's like people at KUSC, like some dude who's there with his wife, and he's like, fuck, there's Jim Schweda. We gotta go say hi. Let's just get this over with.
He just never, he just never misses a show. And at 7 p.m. prompt in the city of Los Angeles and streaming across the world, that voice is heard, man. And
So
he's been
good.
doing it forever.
He's fucking amazing. He is absolutely my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite on-air radio talent. I mean, you ask me, the smartest radio DJs out there are the classical ones. That's
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
But I will listen to Jim Schweda over Jim Ladd in the Battle of the Gyms
Oh, yeah.
any fucking day.
Yeah. Jim Schweda is a national treasure that the majority of the nation don't know that he actually exists.
Yeah.
But if they did, I mean, like he's friends with John Williams,
Yeah, of
which
course.
is John Williams. Let's continue the respite real quick. Modern day classical, if you want to call it that, that's what John Williams does. I mean, he is as brilliant as any of those people I just met because we all know his songs. We all know everything he wrote.
I donated $120 to KUSC last year during their pledge drive.
Yeah.
And I did it. I waited for the hour because I knew that something was going to come up that I wanted. And I got the 2 CD and 1 DVD set of all John Williams stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love him.
I'm with you on that. I made a playlist for my sons when they were young that they still refer to, and the majority of it was John Williams music. And to this day, the love that they have, or the Indy March, or the Imperial March from Empire Strikes, these things are untouchable.
Yeah.
They are solid. And they are so good, man.
All right, we are dangerously close to the end of this program, and I'm lamenting seeing this time come to pass. But we're gonna need to get back into another song. eventually bring it home here, I want to thank everybody for listening to this show today. And I also want to thank Rode Microphones for supplying the microphones. Go to Rode.com, R-O-D-E. They sell the best. They hired all the engineers from Neumann. When Neumann stopped making Neumanns in like the mid-'80s, the guys at Rode said, "Right, mate, why don't you come to Australia?" Hired all those guys and started working mics. Brother Sal is our guest, man. I'll tell you, this has been a blessed experience, my man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me, man. I've enjoyed it myself.
This is super cool. What are you going to take us home with?
This is my song, Down on Love. All right? It's from my Blood and Dust record. I can only imagine how she feels when it's real. She's down, she's so down on love. It's the truth, it's the light in her eyes, all alibis. She's down, she's so down on love. Words spoken in a song, don't make it right when it's wrong. What's the use? I got one more excuse. Well, she cries in the night, no one's there to even fight, but she's down, she's so down on love. I say worries like a rocking chair, always moving, never get you anywhere. She's down, she's so down on love. Words spoken in a song, don't what's the use? I got one more excuse. She's a gem worth my time, endless beauty, she's sublime, but she's down, she's so down on love. Yes, she's down, she's so down on love.
All right, it's time for the Classic Rock 6 with the Brother Sal. The record right now is 5 of 6, held by Angela Petrilli. 6 questions,
Okay.
Classic Rock related. Category 1, songs, music, and inspiration. What Eagles drummer had a solo hit?
Don Henley.
Question number 2 in the category of tours, venues, and live shows. Boys of Summer was the song. In what city did Jim Morrison allegedly flash concert
Miami,
goers
Florida.
on May 1st, 1989? The answer is
Paris, France.
Miami, Florida.
Okay.
Who has written the most #1 hits in the category of biographical and personal? Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney, or Bob Dylan? The most #1 hits.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, as of 2011, he has 32 #1s. He is
Do you know
in the
who
lead.
has the most #1 hits of all time? In any genre of music. It's gonna surprise you.
The California Raisins. I don't know.
George Strait.
Yeah.
Which I'm all about, man.
I
That
like
dude is classy.
Oh, dude, I fucking love George Strait.
George Strait is my man. Keep going.
Well, excuse me, but I think you got my chair. Category 4, album covers, art, and videos. Which Welsh star's stage show is interrupted by Martians in the Tim Burton film Mars Attacks?
Tom Jones.
Tom Jones is the correct answer. It's 4 for 4 right now. Look out, Angela. What folk hero's 2009 release, Together Through Life, came 40 years after his seminal album, Nashville Skyline?
Bob Dylan.
Got too easy there at the end. And for a perfect 6 of 6, what was the Gnostic name of Santana's second album if their debut was called Santana and their third album was titled Santana 3? I know, it's a very confusing question. I'm going to read it again for you. I wish I had my eyeglasses. Kids, when you reach Brother Sal and my age, reading glasses are a big fucking deal. What was the Gnostic name of Santana's second album? That's essentially the first question. Their debut album was called Santana, and their third was Santana 3. What was the second album from Santana for a perfect 6 of 6?
I'm going to go with Santana 2.
That is where they were leading you. Unfortunately, that is not the correct answer. It's
Dose?
Praxis.
What is it?
Abraxas.
Abraxas. Here's the thing.
Must mean something.
I do not like the band Santana.
Hey, you're telling me, dude, I had to go to a show every single year when I worked in radio in Santa Barbara. Like another Santana show? Jesus, how many times do we need to hear Oh Yeah, Como Va?
Tito Puente, he wrote the song.
Good job, Brother Sal.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all.
Great show.
How about the Brother Sal?
Tickling those ivories.
Dude, the guy, it's ridiculous. The funny thing, though, that we were kind of laughing about off the air is he's the Brother Sal. And then when he talks about Randy Newman, he says, the brother Randy Newman.
Brother
It's a
Newman.
whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole brother thing with piano playing crooners. And I'll tell you what, I like it. But as the old joke goes, who would want a club that would have me in it, right?
No.
I can't be the brother Mike Dawson.
Yeah.
It just ruins it for everybody else.
Do I look like a brother?
No.
No.
Grover Anderson has been hanging out with me. We've been watching again. Go to groveranderson.com, pick up these CDs, and support the Brother Sal.
Yes.
Follow him on the Twitter at the Brother Sal. He is playing out, and his band, Brother Sal and the Devil May Care. They're out and about, LA. So do it to it and find it. Thanks for coming out tonight. Patreon.com/front of house. For Grover Anderson, I'm Mike Dawson. You are you, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Peace.
Oh, thank you for letting me be part of this.